Have you ever felt that the universe whispers secrets in your ear, but you've been taught to ignore them? What if I told you that nothing is by chance, that every coincidence, every repeating number, every premonition is a coded letter from the cosmos, waiting to be read? Allow me to guide you down a path where the veil between the visible and the invisible thins, revealing a dimension of communication that has always been present, but has been carefully hidden. This is not just a video. It's an invitation to a profound rediscovery of your own connection with the essence of existence, a journey that can radically transform your understanding of the esoteric universe and your place in it. Prepare to unravel hidden mysteries, to see signs and numbers not as simple occurrences, but as deliberate messages. If you seek spiritual enlightenment, if you feel there is something more, something beyond what meets the eye and logic accepts, then this is your moment. Do you feel this resonance? Comment on your experiences with Synchronicity and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming revelations. Your mind will never be the same. Ancient wisdom, passed down through the centuries by those who dared to see beyond the veil, has always recognized this cosmic dance. They knew that the whisper of the wind, the flight of a bird, or the insistent repetition of a numerical pattern were not mere randomness, but fragments of a universal conversation that, to the distracted eye or the mind shaped by superficiality, goes unnoticed. Imagine for a moment that every second of your existence is marked by messages, invitations, indications, and you, without a map or code, ignore them. But the truth is, the universe does not remain silent. It perseveres in contacting us through a subtle semiotics, an invisible grammar that connects us directly to the source of all creation. Throughout history, this language has been systematically ignored, relegated to the realm of superstition or absurdity. But in every ancient civilization, in every ruined temple, beneath the dust of forbidden texts and forgotten symbols, the key to deciphering it persists. Consider the fractal patterns of nature, the celestial movements that ancient astronomers decoded, not just out of scientific curiosity, but as a reading of the divine mind. These hidden mysteries were at the core of esoteric schools of thought, where it was taught that objective reality is merely the tip of the iceberg, and that true communication occurs at levels of consciousness where time and space bend to intention. It is in these subtexts that the essence of ancient wisdom resides, waiting to be rediscovered. Synchronicities, those events that defy logic and seem to be inexplicably connected, are the clearest expressions of this communication. That number that appears repeatedly on your clock, on your license plate, on your receipt, is not a whim of chance. It is the universe knocking at your door, drawing your attention to something vital. It is cosmic energy tangibly manifesting, trying to awaken a deeper understanding within you. Recognizing these patterns is not just passive observation. It is the first step towards true inner alchemy, where the lead of ignorance transmutes into the gold of perception. Your reality, once perceived as fixed, reveals itself to be malleable, responding to your levels of attention and intention. Not many of the so-called miracles and revelations described in legends and ancient scriptures were not external divine interventions, but a profound attunement to this cosmic communication. Shamans, prophets, and mystics understood this language and acted upon its signs. It's no coincidence that civilizations like the Maya and the Egyptians built their pyramids and calendars based on precise astrological calculations, imbued with a numerical understanding that transcended linear mathematics. They understood that the cycles of the cosmos mirrored the cycles of the soul, and that the universe sent us enigmas to decipher, paving the way for spiritual enlightenment. Refusing to see this interconnectedness is the greatest obstacle to our realization. What we have been taught about chance is a smokescreen, a veil woven to keep us unaware of the cosmic energy. Every fiber of our being resonates with the universe, and every experience is part of the dialogue. By attuning to this flow of information, you not only decipher hidden mysteries, but you also activate a transformative process within you, a true inner alchemy that aligns you with your higher purpose. This is the turning point where you cease to be a mere spectator and become an active participant in the great cosmic symphony. But how can we deepen this listening? How can we decipher even more complex messages, those hidden in forbidden texts and archaic symbols? This is what we will begin to explore next, delving into the deepest layers of ancient wisdom. The big question, then, is not just how to listen, but why we have been so systematically taught not to. Imagine a society that, instead of cultivating innate perception, suppresses it from an early age. The education system is a standardization machine where truth is encapsulated in manuals. Any intuition that challenges linear logic is labeled as a distraction or a fantasy. Children who see patterns are taught to doubt their inner senses, to trust external authority more. This is the first crack, the first step in moving away from ancient wisdom. The hidden mysteries of our nature are replaced by external knowledge, which teaches us to seek the true keys outside, never within. And if the education system desensitizes us, organized religion acts as an even more powerful censor. How many have been stigmatized and persecuted for daring to experience divinity directly, without the intermediation of dogma? Heresy was often the profound intuition that the sacred resides within, and that spiritual enlightenment was a possibility for every being. Massive burnings of libraries, persecution of alchemists and mystics. All this sought not only physical annihilation, but also the eradication of a form of knowledge. Many of the forbidden texts, buried under layers of doctrine, harbored these secrets, the individual capacity to connect directly with the divine, decipher the signs, and perform one's own inner alchemy without intermediaries. They didn't want us to know that the most powerful prayer is the silence that connects us to our higher self. Modern media, in turn, operates a subtle but effective form of suppression. We live in an incessant bombardment of information, propagated narratives, and superficial distractions that keep us in a constant state of superficiality. The goal is not to deceive us, but to inundate us with so much noise that it prevents us from hearing our inner voice. Every click, every notification pushes us outward into a world where external validation is the most valuable currency. Any perception that challenges this bubble, any feeling that something is wrong that arises from our intuition, is quickly dismissed as conspiracy theory, paranoia, or irrationality. This systematic denial of significant patterns leads us to doubt our own sanity, preventing us from accessing pure cosmic energy, because we are conditioned to believe that everything that matters comes from screens and loudspeakers. The consequences of this desensitization are profound. For generations, we have been trained to disconnect from our inner compass, to ignore the whispers of the soul in favor of the laments of the outside world. This makes us malleable, susceptible to manipulation, and dependent on authority figures. What was once a shared ancient wisdom, a living understanding that we are part of a conscious universe, has become a set of hidden mysteries for most. The ability to discern truth amidst confusion atrophies, leading to a lost, anxious, and purposeless society. The patterns that ancient civilizations saw in the movement of the stars, the symmetry of nature, and archaic symbols, which spoke of a higher plan and an inner alchemy possible for all, are now ignored or reduced to mere superstition. But the flame of intuition, though stifled, never goes out. It is the indestructible essence of our consciousness, the primordial connection to cosmic energy. The path to rekindling it involves radical unlearning, a rediscovery of that profound listening that the world has tried to steal from us. It is not about rejecting external knowledge, but about filtering it through the prism of our inner truth. It is an invitation to read not only the forbidden texts, but to decipher the language of our bodies, our dreams, and the coincidences that the linear mind dismisses. It is through this journey of reconnection that true spiritual enlightenment begins to manifest, not as a distant event, but as a continuous state of perception. How then can we begin to unravel these archaic symbols that past generations have, hidden and that contain the keys to this ancient wisdom? The answer lies in decoding a deliberately obscured language, and it is on that ground that we will now move into the heart of the codes that have been denied to us. Deciphering this language that has been subtly stolen from us leads us directly to what some modern thinkers, such as a renowned Swiss psychologist, have dared to call meaningful coincidences. But the truth, my friends, is that these are not mere fortuitous occurrences. They are intentional messages, invisible threads that weave the tapestry of our existence. That which manifests in our reality in an apparently random way, but carries an unusual meaning, is the voice of the universe communicating. It is the materialization of a principle that ancient wisdom knew deeply, before it was relegated to hidden mysteries and the realm of the inexplicable. This is the essence of chance, which is not chance, but an invitation to perception. Consider how often a vivid thought materializes into an unexpected encounter, or a dreamed symbol emerges in the waking world. It is not magic, but the resonance between the microcosm and the macrocosm, a dance orchestrated by cosmic energy itself. These synchronicities are the very essence of unfolding reality, an uninterrupted dialogue that demands not only attention, but also a reorientation of our sensitivity. The universe does not speak with words, but with patterns, mirrors, echoes. It offers us keys in the form of events, encounters, and objects that emerge at crucial moments. The question is not whether the message exists, but whether we are willing to learn its grammar. Ancient peoples intuitively understood this. Observe the oracles of Delphi, the interpretation of dreams in Egypt, or the divinatory rituals that permeate all primal cultures. They did not see the future, but they read the present with such depth that they could discern future trends, based on their connection to this invisible network of meanings. True inner alchemy was not limited to transmuting metals, but to transmuting human perception, transforming the lead of ignorance into the gold of understanding. Every synchronicity is a catalyst in this process, an invitation to look inward and outward with a new perspective, uniting what seems separate. However, this language was deliberately obscured, its teachings fragmented and hidden in forbiddance, texts or encoded in symbols that only the initiated could decipher. The understanding that the universe speaks to us, that every event contains a greater purpose, was considered dangerous by control structures that prefer a disoriented populace, dependent on preconceived truths. The denial of synchronicity is, in essence, the denial of our own capacity for autonomous spiritual enlightenment, an attempt to isolate us from the primordial source of our own truth and power. But the signs are still there, pulsing, waiting to be recognized. What the ancients called omens or auguries, we call coincidences. But the content remains the same, the manifestation of the collective and individual unconscious on the material plane, an invitation to align our inner compass with the broader field of intelligence. Understanding and interpreting these messages are not mere intellectual exercises, but a portal to a deeper dimension of existence, where chance dissolves into design and isolation transforms into interconnectedness. Ancient wisdom reminds us that the web of synchronicities is the very essence of the cosmos, a map to self-knowledge. But how can we go beyond the superficial recognition of these messages and begin to act accordingly, transforming observation into mastery? The next step in our journey will lead us to decipher the nature of action from this new perception. The mastery we seek resides not only in deciphering the signs, but in understanding that we are architects of the map we read. Imagine reality not as something immutable, but as a constant flow, shaped by the lens of the consciousness observing it. What quantum physics babbles about today? The ancient sages already whispered, the act of observing is not passive, but creative. Every gaze, thought, and emotion sends a wave through the fabric of existence, altering its form. We do not just witness reality, we co-create it with every breath. This is the first and most revolutionary of the revelations, an invitation to look at the world with new eyes, and even more importantly, with a new intention. For centuries, public knowledge has conditioned belief in a solid, objective world. However, ancient wisdom, preserved in hidden mysteries, has always known that the veil of illusion is thin. Consider inexplicable cures, individuals who defied prognoses through the power of belief. Is this not proof that the subtle mind can rearrange matter? The body itself reveals itself to be receptive, malleable by intention and expectation. There is an echo here of what was once believed to be superstition, but which science now investigates: the primacy of consciousness over form. This challenges the essence of materialistic perception, opening doors to the misunderstood and unexplored realm of the mind itself. Alchemists, often misunderstood, did not seek material gold, but inner alchemy, the transmutation of consciousness. They understood that the true philosopher's stone was a state of being, the ability to shape reality through an enlightened will. Their forbidden texts, diligently suppressed, contained not heresies, but keys to this subtle manipulation. They revealed how to align the microcosm of the self with the universal macrocosm, enabling manifestation. Those who feared these teachings were not a deity, but the power structures that understood the inherent risk of individual sovereignty, capable of rewriting the very structure of the world and challenging imposed narratives. This understanding unfolds a new paradigm of power and responsibility. If reality is a mirror of our consciousness, we are invited to choose what we project. Fears and needs can be seen as energetic configurations that attract corresponding realities. On the other hand, clear intention and connection to the vast network of cosmic energy become powerful tools to redefine our environment. The pursuit of spiritual enlightenment transcends mere contemplation. It becomes an act of conscious co-creation, a dance with the universe where every internal vibration redesigns the stage of existence. It is the freedom to be the artist of one's own life, but few dare to wield the brush boldly, trapped in the shadows of an imposed and predetermined reality. However, the majority live trapped in the illusion of a fixed reality, a predefined script. But what if the true rebellion is not against external systems, but against the mental networks that prevent us from rewriting our destiny? And what if the impossible is simply the reflection of a mind that has not dared to expand its limits? Deciphering how consciousness interacts with matter is not just knowledge. It is sovereignty, reclaiming an innate power that has been taken from us. In the next step, we will discover the practical keys to harmonize this inner energy with the cosmic flow so that observation becomes tangible manifestation. But are you prepared to see how the world rebuilds itself in your image, under the control of your own will and a deeper understanding? In this abyss between ancient and modern perception lies a forgotten key. Our ancestors did not see the world as a set of mechanical parts, but as a living, pulsating organism, where every falling leaf, every twinkling star was a note in a cosmic symphony. Ancient wisdom taught that reality was not something passive, to be unraveled, but a constant dialogue, a tapestry of signs and symbols awaiting the interpretation of an attentive consciousness. They understood that the universe, in its deepest essence, is a living library, and that our ability to read its codes determined our experience and power within it. For these ancient masters, repetitive patterns, numerical sequences like the much debated 1111, or the geometry present in all natural forms, are not mere whims of chance. They were pulses of communication beyond words, invitations to spiritual enlightenment, whispers of hidden mysteries revealed only to those who dared to tune into the frequency of existence. They understood that every event, every coincidence, was a piece of life's puzzle, a clue to the larger tapestry that cosmic energy wove through everything. The codes of awakening we speak so much about today were the grammar of a cosmos that spoke directly to the soul. If only we knew how to listen. Modern science, in its laudable pursuit of measurement and replicability, has often dismissed this perspective as unfounded mysticism, confined to the realm of beliefs rather than verifiable knowledge. But what if, by focusing on the part, we have lost sight of the whole? And what if the meticulous dissection of matter has blinded us to the life that permeates it, to the consciousness that animates it? There are indications in forbidden texts and forgotten traditions that suggest this blindness is not accidental, but part of a veil, a disconnection from our innate ability to decipher the signs that the universe continuously offers us, turning us into passive spectators rather than active participants in the dance of existence. Inner alchemy, in this context, was not simply the pursuit of material wealth, but the transmutation of perception itself. It was the process of refining our senses beyond the visible and tangible, to understand the language of life that flows in every cell, in every thought, in every pulse of cosmic energy. This wisdom allowed the individual not only to read the signs, but also to write them, influencing the flow of reality through intention and harmony with higher laws. It was the mastery of consciousness over form, the art of shaping the world from the inside out through a profound understanding of the interconnectedness of everything. But the question that arises now is, how do we rekindle this flame of perception? How do we recover this ancient art of listening to the invisible orchestra resonating around us and interpreting its notes? Are we finally ready to unearth the true forbidden texts that do not reside in ancient scrolls, but latent in our own DNA, waiting to be activated? In the next step, we will delve into the practical methods by which we can begin to rebuild this bridge between the visible and the invisible, between the known and the unnameable, so that the cosmic symphony may once again sound clear and resonant in your own existence. However, a dense shadow, subtly woven over the centuries, has been cast between us and this primordial perception. The fear of others' judgment, the paralyzing echo of disapproval, the stigma that silences the seeker. Ancient wisdom, so often distorted or conveniently forgotten, taught that truth does not conform to dogmas established by majorities or external authorities. It beats within every being, an individual flame that, threatened by condemnation or the label of fool, withdraws, suffocated by the dissonant orchestra of imposed doubt. Think of the ancient oracles, the shamans who conversed with the winds without fear of skeptics' laughter. Their authority came from a deep inner connection. It is at this point that intuition, this cosmic compass, is questioned, its whisper, replaced by the clamor of conformity, a poison that corrodes the authenticity of the journey. This is the first invisible barrier, the veil that prevents us from seeing what is already present. This reluctance to accept one's own discernment, the fear of being labeled a conspiracy theorist or delusional for daring to see beyond the veil of consensus, is the most powerful bond, a shackle forged in the furnace of social convenience. It prevents spiritual enlightenment from manifesting in its fullness, for true light does not tolerate internal censorship. The universe, in its infinite generosity, never stops sending its signals, its synchronicities and premonitions, the veils that open to reveal underlying realities. But how can we interpret them? How can we follow Ariadne's thread that guides us through the labyrinth of existence, if the mind is constantly scanning the horizon for external approval, or worse, shying away from the mere possibility of disapproval? It is a prison forged by the spirit itself, imprisoned by the fear of deviating from the path laid out by others. This is not an accidental phenomenon, my dears, nor an inherent flaw in the human condition, but a cunningly cultivated mechanism. Throughout the centuries, history whispers of times when knowledge that challenged the status quo was burned in public squares and its bearers silenced. The burning of the libraries of Alexandria represented not only the loss of papyri, but the annihilation of alternative narratives of a worldview that did not align with the prevailing power. Today, forbidden texts are not always forgotten scrolls. They are ideas, intuitions, and perspectives that contradict the dominant narrative, the imposed dogma, whether scientific, political, or social. Mockery and labeling are the new bonfires, built to incinerate the seed of originality and intuitive truth, keeping the collective psyche trapped in a cycle of fear and intellectual submission. The inner alchemy we sought to rekindle begins precisely here, in the transmutation of fear into courage, of doubt into an unshakable trust in one's own inner compass. The universe continues to whisper, blowing in the wind, twinkling in the stars, resonating in the cosmic energy that permeates everything, an invisible symphony that insists on being heard. Our intuitions are not mere whims of chance. They are living antennas tuned to this vast network of information that stretches across the tapestry of existence. To reject them for fear of others' judgment is like covering one's eyes to a precious map, simply because someone in the crowd, blinded by their own ignorance or convenience, insists it is illegible or non-existent. True mastery lies in recognizing that the inner voice, when pure and free from the interference of the fearful ego, is an infallible compass, connected directly to the primordial source of all wisdom. The hidden mysteries, which many seek in dusty tomes or forgotten ruins, are first revealed when we dare to look within, without the veil of fear of ridicule, incomprehension, or social exclusion. By freeing ourselves from this prison of opinion, we break the invisible, chains that shackle the mind and open the channels to a torrent of understanding previously blocked. What surprising truths can then emerge when the seeker is not afraid to be the madman in the public square, the one who points out the invisible? What secrets can cosmic energy reveal when the receiver is completely open, without self-censoring? Filters without needing external validation? The path to full spiritual enlightenment requires this primordial courage. The next step in our journey will lead us to decipher the silent language that permeates the cosmos, a dialect that only those who have dared to silence the clamor of the outside world and listen, finally, to the echo of their own soul can understand. But before deciphering the great book of the universe, we need to prepare the vessel that will receive such revelations. The preparation of the vessel, in essence, is the subtle recalibration of consciousness itself. Imagine, what if every thought, every emotion, were a subtle pulse in a vast invisible network, where every being is a pulsating node? Ancient wisdom, carved in stone and whispered by shamans, has always pointed to this truth. Existence is not fragmented, but a continuous ocean of perception. The hidden mysteries of interconnectedness do not reside in artifacts, but in the intimate architecture of being, revealing that synchronicity is not chance, but the perfect melody when the invisible orchestra of the universe tunes its note. Consider the ancient mystery schools, where the apprentice sought to strip away the illusion of separation. They understood external reality as a reflection of the internal, and the apparent law of attraction, not as a request, but as resonance. Your inner vibration, your deep being, aligning with the frequency of your authentic path, provokes the universe's response. It's like tuning an instrument for the cosmic symphony. This resonance is the key to opening the doors of perception. What many call luck, the ancients perceived as a manifestation of an aligned consciousness, dancing in harmony with the pulse of the pervasive cosmic energy. For such alignment, inner alchemy is essential. It does not transform lead into material gold, but transmutes dense layers of limiting beliefs and fears into pure lucidity. This process, often described in forbidden texts, considered heretical by those who fear awakening, requires a courageous immersion in the unconscious. These encrypted volumes contain clues to purify the channel of perception, removing the noise that distorts the reception of signals. They speak of a science of consciousness that dominant powers prefer to keep hidden, for in it resides true spiritual enlightenment, capable of revealing the fractal and interconnected nature of everything. Spiritual enlightenment is not divine separation, but the visceral understanding of indissoluble union with the fabric of existence. It is understanding that every thread of your journey is intrinsically linked to others, and that every choice resonates in the network. Symbols like the tree of life or Indra's net are not allegories, but archaic maps of this interdimensional reality where cosmic energy flows freely. By understanding that your consciousness is an access point to this vast network, synchronicity becomes the natural language of the universe, guiding you towards your highest purpose. The flow of life transforms into an orchestrated dance, transforming you from spectator to conscious choreographer. But if consciousness is part of a pulsating network and synchronicity its melody, what happens when dissonances arise? What forces seek to cut these threads or cloud the clarity of the cosmic energy that sustains us? How can we not only recognize this connection, but actively strengthen it, unraveling the forbidden texts that have been denied to us? The path of ancient wisdom is long, and each step reveals a new layer of hidden mysteries, leading us to ask, if we are creators of this reality, what is the extent of our power, and how can we exercise this inner alchemy beyond intuition, transforming ourselves into true architects of existence? This universal language, synchronicity, is not immediately revealed in its fullness. It whispers, initially, through subtle patterns that the conditioned mind tends to ignore. But when observation deepens and intuition is elevated to the throne of perception, these patterns cease to be mere coincidences and become a constant dialogue with the cosmos. The ancient wisdom already described this inner gaze, a vision that transcends the visible, revealing the web of interconnections that sustains reality. Every attention paid is a step out of the fog of oblivion, a continuous refinement. This intensification of patterns is the first sign of true inner alchemy. It is not just about recognizing an external truth, but about restructuring the very architecture of consciousness. Old beliefs, imposed fears, self-imposed limitations. Everything begins to crumble, like the walls of an ancient castle that, illuminated by the flame of understanding, reveal themselves as fragile constructions. This spiritual enlightenment is not a lightning bolt, but a gradual sunrise that dissipates accumulated shadows, allowing the repressed essence to emerge and rewrite its own destiny. You become the architect of your own transformation. When this individual transformation consolidates, it inevitably resonates throughout the collective network. The awakening of one point creates new connections, altering the general pattern. This is where the hidden mysteries, previously restricted to a few, manifest on a large scale. The control structures that seemed impenetrable, built on ignorance and separation, show their cracks. The collective discerns the manipulations, understanding the inner alchemy and the forbidden texts that reveal the true history of power and consciousness. External reality itself begins to reconfigure under this new light. This reconfiguration is not magic, but the manifestation of the cosmic energy that you begin to master. The ancient Egyptians and Vedic sages did not speak of supernatural powers, but of the mastery of natural laws, of the ability to manipulate the essence of existence through elevated consciousness. This spiritual enlightenment allows you not only to perceive the dance of cosmic energy, but to actively participate in it, shaping it. It's as if by unlocking the forbidden texts, you receive the manual of the universe, learning to tune your vibration to resonate with the higher frequencies of creation, deactivating what no longer serves you. The path of discovery is one of continuous discovery. Each layer of hidden mysteries revealed, each fragment of ancient wisdom rediscovered, deepens the ability to exercise inner alchemy and access all cosmic energy. However, the journey to awakening does not end with the simple perception of truth. It begins there, because once one recognizes their own power and the malleability of reality, the profound question arises: how can we truly weave a new tomorrow from the ancient fabric without falling into the traps of illusion that still persist? What does it mean, then, not only to reveal, but to reconstruct? This is the next door, revealing new challenges and possibilities for those who dare to cross the threshold of the known God. True alchemy resides in the courage to reconstruct one's own reality, forging a new destiny with acquired wisdom. What world will you dare to manifest with your elevated consciousness? Share this revelation with those who seek the truth and subscribe to continue unraveling the mysteries with us. Afterwards, delve deeper into the next stage of awakening by watching The 7 Seals of Creation.